Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, a week into baseball, a week left in basketball. John Morant seems to be going out, guns a blazing, and we are back to give you the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, live from Atlanta, joined by Wade Julian, live from New York City. You are now tuned in to your number one sports talk show on the All Things Sports Network. Ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet. As always, very accurate. June, how are you doing? It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but it's Friday, so I'm rocking with the Good Friday energy right now. We got Final Four tomorrow, so there's a little bit of anxiety there. And I checked the schedule. We got a few good matchups this weekend. If I'm not mistaken, the Dodgers have finished beating the brakes off of Atlanta, and now they have turned their attention a little southwest from here, excuse me, in Philadelphia. So they'll be in Philly. Red Sox playing St. Louis with their home opener, and I definitely forgot who the Yankees got this weekend, but I think it's a good series. So everything's good, man. How you doing?
I'm well. Yankees in Pittsburgh. I think they're
There
up
you
like
go.
2-0 right now, 3-0
Yeah,
right now,
not a
something
good
like
series.
that. Yeah, it's Pittsburgh. Yeah, hey, I had you know me, I love the first five in baseball. I had Braves in the first five game 2 when they had Chris Sale on the mound. And it cashed. I think it was like 1-0 after 5, cashed. And one of my group chats I sent out the check mark, and then I was like, I wouldn't be mad at a live Dodgers money line. Sent it, went to bed. Woke up in the morning like, damn.
That was Shohei's walk off, or
Yeah, that was so. That was.
I went to the Yankee game that night. This was on
No,
Tuesday
I
night.
lied. That was game
Okay,
3. It was game 2. Game 2.
okay,
They went up 3-1 like the 7th.
yeah, yeah. Chris Sale, that was Chris Sale's first time pitching in Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
since he pitched in the World Series for the Red Sox and beat the Dodgers. That was like the last of the beatable Dodgers. I don't know that we're gonna see a league in which the Dodgers don't run it for the foreseeable future, bro. This is crazy. This is crazy, and I gotta give credit to their NL West division rivals. 45 minutes south in Dago, Machado, Tatis, Bogarts, right? Those guys are balling right now, and the Padres are off to an historic start, and I want to acknowledge that. But I have a feeling one will fizzle out and one will remain strong tonight. So with that being said, what's on the docket, my brother?
Hey man, a whole lot of a whole lot. The NFL draft not too far away. It is April, so in
Yes,
that spirit,
sir.
before we get into any Final Four talk, NBA talk, let's kick it over to the NFL, where Bryan County's own Geno Smith. I'm gonna say it every time because it is what it is. Bryan County's own Geno Smith lands in Las Vegas in the offseason, and as of yesterday, gets a $75 million extension over 2 years. Incentives could kick it up to 85.5 million, 66.5 million when you sign on the dotted line. June, what does this say about the Raiders going forward at this point?
It looks as if they feel that they have their quarterback for the right now. I wouldn't say for the future, and that's kind of key here because Shador Sanders had a nice pro day today where he completed 62 of 67 passes. Travis Hunter was receiving for him on a lot of those, and three of those incompletions he had today were due to drops. So, uh, we know this about Shador Sanders, an extremely accurate quarterback. Obviously, every quarterback coming out has their flaws. They have their ups and downs. That things that they need to work on and get better with, as Shador does. But we talked a little pre-show about this specific topic and what it might mean for the Raiders or what you think, I think, and I don't know. I mean, you can never guess in this day and age with GMs and how they kind of want to go about building teams. But I won't rule out that Shador, if available at 7, won't go to Vegas. Like as much as this Geno signing, it's a lot of money here. He can play right now. He doesn't seem to be slowing down as far as like retirement's just right up there. But at the end of the day, I think the Raiders understand that Geno Smith is not their quarterback of the future. And if they do have an opportunity to make something shake with a possible candidate for the quarterback of their future, I'm sure they would at least entertain that. And one of the big factors that kind of helps us feel like it's not all the way crazy is what you mentioned pre-show. You said we saw the Falcons do it, with taking Penix,
Facts.
and you're absolutely right. Kirk Cousins now is still in Atlanta, but he's not going to show up at OTAs. He's not going to be the number one guy over there, right? And it was what the hell? How could they draft? How could they take a quarterback? They just signed, and sometimes you're going to need that. And especially when the opportunity is there. They believed in Michael Penix last year to where they felt like, regardless of what the situation is with Kirk Cousins going forward, we're going to go ahead and draft our future. I'm sure that if, for whatever reason, Shador gets past pick 3 to the Giants, those Raiders are going to be either on the phone trying to see if they can get a little bit higher up in the draft, or if not, see if the blessing of Shador Sanders falls into their laps. Pause.
Eh, yeah. Uh, I do think that if we're once okay, first and foremost, shout out to Geno Smith. I love the fact that, and I mean this in no disrespect. There's high level quarterback play, and we're talking Josh Allen, we're talking Lamar, we're talking Patrick Mahomes, and no disrespect to Geno Smith. There's mid quarterback
You
play,
can
and
say you can say there's $53 million quarterback play and there's $44 million quarterback play, and
you know
that's
what I
totally
mean.
fine.
And I love the fact because I feel like it used to be, and it to a certain extent still is. It's like there's this large gap between high level and then just like mid level quarterback play when it came to the money disparity, and
Yeah.
it seems as if teams are respecting the quarterback position at this point. You need the guy; it's the most
Yeah,
important position
I
in
think
sports.
it's a part of that, and also just where the game's going. I think that salary cap just keeps jumping and jumping every year in this NFL, and we're seeing guys get rewarded for it. I'm never going to be opposed to these dudes making as much money as they can. It's pretty awesome, especially understanding where they come from and all this. It's always cool to see like a hometown kid, in his what now 13th year. I don't know, Geno
Yeah,
Smith, something like that, and
and he balled
just
out in Seattle last year. He broke some records in
he's he's
Seattle last year.
he's like remade a name for himself in multiple spots, and so it's something proud to watch and be something to. It's cool to know that he comes from around our way.
Hey, try to write me off. I ain't right back though. You heard?
Yeah,
I do think if we're speaking in terms of Shador now, I couldn't see him. I know Atlanta just did it. I mentioned Atlanta just doing it. I think that when you're looking at Las Vegas at this point, they got their quarterback, and if he's on the board, and when I say he, I'm talking about Ashton Gentry. I think that, uh, damn. Tell me who their coach is again.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, sorry. I think that Pete Carroll is looking at Ashton Gentry and hoping's on the board, and like I think he's seeing his new beast mode, honestly. And he had some success with
Yeah.
that kind of football in Seattle. And I think that I think he has his quarterback, and I think now he's hoping that Ashton Gentry's on the board at pick 6 when Las Vegas goes to pick, and that they can pick up their running back of the future. What's your rebuttal to that, June?
Um, I made a face, but I could see it. I'm walking with you. I could see how a Pete Carroll led team, who Pete Carroll, whether it was the GM over there or Pete Carroll, but I know Pete Carroll had a lot of involvement in that, early Legion of Boom era Seattle Seahawks front office area. Like they drafted extremely well, and so if he can bring that to Vegas, because Vegas, I don't think drafts poorly. I think Vegas has a type, if you will, when it's draft season. They know what they like, and sometimes they shoot themselves in the foot with trying to go get their type as opposed to like best available or a need. And so if Pete Carroll can kind of bring some of that attitude, Tom Brady obviously with ownership and just a whole new wave of minds in there. Yeah, they have their quarterback and they have a guy that they trust and can give them similar to Russell Wilson production. I don't want to go so far to say Russell Wilson with the Seahawks in 2013, right? Like Hall of Fame quarterback right there. But to the extent of being able to deliver on time, athletic enough to, kind of just move around in the pocket, maybe get some yards, and relying on your defense. So this is the biggest thing. The Raiders are going to have to ace in not only this draft but next year's as well, and just bringing new personnel in and guys with new energy. And you got Max Crosby as a cornerstone for that defense. So if you go and get a lockdown corner in this draft or the best linebacker, I mean you're at 7. You can get the best. And I know you mentioned Genty, right? So I'm not mad if you go. I'm not mad if you trade down for Ashton Genty. If that's what you want in this draft, then I don't think you take him at 7 because I don't. I could see Ashton Genty getting out of the top 10. So if you can trade back to 11 or so, get maybe a third round pick extra.
Mm.
Therefore, draft a defensive guy or someone else you like there. Take Genty, and Genty can become that. We've seen his production at Boise State. I'm not going to question that. I'll have to wait and see failure before I put that on him. But because that was dominance. But as far as team building, yeah, I think they're gonna have to look at what they need more so than what they want. And if Ashton Genty is gonna fit, if you can make that fit in the need column, like well, we can trade back and get an extra pick, get him and a guy that we like, that we need. I can see that. But I'm also all right. That was like the in-depth way. Like when you just spitball it at me, it's like, do I take Raiders taking Genty at 7? Not necessarily. I think there's going to be more skill that the Raiders should be looking for. But hey, again, they have a type sometimes. Sometimes they just get what they want, and it's the Raiders. You can never assume what you're going to get.
Yeah, they do have a pretty deep running back room at this point. A lot of good experience in that running back room at this point. One thing's for sure, Geno Smith is going to have a ball, with targets like Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, and company.
Yeah,
It's gonna look good in Vegas, and
yeah.
I'm excited to see the outcome. Shout out to your pops. Every time we talk about Vegas, shout out to your pops, man.
Pop's a Raider fan, man. The
The
Raiders. But hey, shout out
Raiders.
to Ray Cam in the chat. What up, Ray Cam?
Ray, what up? What up? Appreciate you tapping in. June, the road to San Antonio, and it's here. The Final Four. Ooh, we'll start with the early game, right? Janai Broome, Walter Clayton Jr., Auburn Tigers, Florida Gators, SEC basketball, 6:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. That is Saturday, April 5th, the first game of the Final Four. June, it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a dogfight. Once again, it's SEC basketball. What are you expecting from not only the two stars that I just named, but both programs heading into tomorrow's matchup?
Hmm. This is going to be a good competitive matchup, and I think we're going to get a good game uh, all the way through. I don't know that either team kind of finds too much separation. Maybe there's like a point toward the end, but I see this game being a really good game. Um, You mentioned Broom came out last game with a double double in the first half, 17 points, 10 boards, and I mean we've seen him play against Michigan, we've seen him play against you know all these teams here so far in the tournament, and nothing seems to phase him. And I tried to hate on him a little bit, and just in a fan's perspective, just like Duke's the number one team. I don't want Auburn to be the number one team, and who gets the higher seeding. That's where the hate came from. It's not actual hate, but I try. I'm like, yo, how is Brett so wrong? Like, nah, bro, you can stop him, bro. Bro gets to a spot. He's strong. He's also 6 years older than a lot of these kids, which I'm not trying to joke about, but like it makes sense to 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 make sense of the dominance. I mean, there is context, right? So, but credit to him, bro. He gets to a spot and he puts up his shots and gets his rebounds. He fights on the glass and he brings that edge and that toughness to a team that is full of it. And so, shout out to Auburn and what they're doing. Coach Pearl's gonna have them ready, but I do expect a really good game tomorrow, where Janai Broom is gonna make his imprint. I think that on the flip side, Walter Clayton, he's going to be an issue for Auburn trying to stop him. And whether Tommy Hall wants to, run it back and kind of share the same performance he had last Saturday night, that's on him. But they're going to need that from that guy and from other role players because Walter Clayton Jr. he can have an amazing game, but I don't think he can win that game for them. Auburn is a complete team with a lot of versatility. They're balanced. They have a healthy 3-point game. They can get into the paint and attack the rim. So it's going to be a long day for Florida, but I think Florida is good enough to be able to stay in it all game. However, ultimately, man, it's funny. Before the tournament started, when I was down in South Florida, I was talking to my boys AJ, Chris, and Omar. Shout out to them. But like AJ's like, yo, I think Florida probably gonna win it. Bama or Florida, Bama or Florida, and Bama's not here. You know what I'm saying? We done took care of that, and we saw how and why. But Florida's here,
Yeah.
and they're still here, and they're a number one seed. And so, as much as I want to say uh, Auburn takes this game, I could see a world where Florida just comes and snatches it. I'm gonna go Auburn though. I am rooting for the Auburn Duke National Championship, the OGs versus the freshmen. Auburn was a consensus number one team, best team in the country all year long. Duke kind of found their way a little later. Obviously, three losses on the season. They had their way the whole season, but in the sense of actually dominating and playing really good, we started to see it a little later on, probably in the late December to January mark.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see Coach Shire versus Coach Pearl in a national championship for Shire's first. That's just to me. I mean, I grew up watching college basketball. Bruce Pearl was coaching Chris Lofton at Tennessee back in middle school, and now Bruce Pearl's still coaching. I guess 20 years later. I mean, he's like 35 years in this game, and now he's coaching the heir to Mike Krzyzewski. You know what I'm saying? And John Shire's trying to get this legacy started real quick. He's not trying to go 5 to 7 years without winning that first one. He won 3 years in with the first one. Give me a break.
Hey man, fast forwarding a little bit. I'm gonna jump back, but the Blue Devils did take on number 2 Auburn at the time earlier in the season in Cameron Indoor. It was an 84-78 win for the Blue Devils. Now on the other end of that, Florida did knock off number 1 Auburn in the Neville Center back in early February, 90-81. They were up 10.5. They were only able, they being Auburn, were only able to outscore Florida by 1 in the second half. They lost by 9 points. The line, only meeting between these two prior to now this season, the line as of right now, Florida -2.5. Vegas is saying it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a good one. Ultimately, I got Florida on their way to the national championship. I can't tell you to take the points, but I think Florida money line is a good look. I think it'll be a close game throughout. I'm excited to tap into this one. This one's going to be a goodie. I'll be on the road for this one, so I'll be tapped in. I'll be tapped in for sure. The late game, June, the main event,
Hey man,
Houston, Duke. I could. It almost gives me goosebumps now that we're back in the Final Four, June. Is there any way, June, in your head, in your, let's take the Duke cap off for a second. Is there any way that Houston pulls off this win?
absolutely. We're not crazy, right? We're big fans. We love our team. We're rooting for our guys. We've never been dumb on the show, so we're not gonna start today just because the Final Four is here. Now, I will say, the day that the Colts go to the AFC Championship again, you lost me. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. And when the Heat, you know what I'm saying, get to that second round, it's Heat in five. But, you know, we talk about college basketball. It can always go either way. And that's why I love it so much. You know, sometimes we say this about sports in general, right? It can go either way. And that's true. But college basketball, I like to remind everybody that we're and it's I love to remind everybody actually that because I have to remind people more so in the college football world than the college basketball world, just because I'm more tapped in with that world and those people personally. But we're watching 18 to 22 year olds. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This is these are kids, and with all respect, these are kids. I'm 20 now. I'm about to be fucking 30 in 2 weeks. Like these are kids, and I watch them with respect. I watch them with love. I watch them with passion. I watch them with criticism, and I watch them with a criticism with understanding for their game. Right? I don't expect Malawach and Cooper Flag to look like Bam and Tyler. That's the problem where we run into more so, like I say in football. I think where we think Reggie Bush is everybody. You know what I'm saying? No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. Reggie Bush was who he was because of what the fuck he did at USC, right? And Herschel Walker doesn't. It's few and far between. I mean, we got a bunch of Herschel Walkers post college walking around, but we don't have a lot of Herschel Walkers from the Herschel Walker college days walking around. So
Yep.
you gotta just keep the perspective that these are fucking kids, man. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, win or lose or draw, whatever the case, you got to give them credit. They went to school. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their education, and they doing the sports, and they're playing for our school. Like, and we just got to be proud of them. I mentioned all of that, EP, because yes, Houston can win this game. One, not just because they're 18 to 22 year olds and everybody's susceptible to making mistakes or pressure getting the best of them. That's my always going to keep that in mind reason. But Houston is the number one seed in the what are they in the west they're in the south region.
Yes.
Houston's the number one team in the south region. I mean, played exceptional ball all season long, conference play, dominated,
Midwest.
have
Sorry,
shown
Midwest
that
region.
Midwest region have shown that they have dominated or been able to dominate in this tournament. And they're similar to Duke, dynamic on both sides of the floor. So we're going to get a best offense with Duke and a best defense matchup here with Houston. But the same thing that you could say about Duke. Well, let me set this real quick. This is why I think Duke will win. Duke is the best offense, but their defense is elite. Houston has the best defense, and their offense is elite. I think that Duke's defense is better than Houston's offense, right? And so if we have the best this and y'all have the best that, okay, well, let's take a look at this and this. I think we have the upper hand here where your guys' offense is really good, elite. I mean, you guys can shoot. They got a lot of guards who are versatile, tough to stop. But Duke's defense is talked about like one of the best defenses in the country because it is. So I just think that, again, mistakes can be made. Pressure will be there. Freshmen are playing in this game. I mentioned last week that there's going to be three impactful freshmen in this four impactful freshmen in this whole Final Four, and three of them come from Duke. And so
Yep.
Houston is a, much like Auburn, very veteran seasoned team. And they're also extremely well coached. So they'll be prepared. They'll be prepared. Pressure bust pipes, and we're gonna find out a lot about each other on Saturday. So, is there a world to answer your question for the fourth time? Yes, there's a world where there's. But to stand on what I've been thinking for the 20th time, Duke is gonna win this game.
The Houston Cougars led the nation in field goal percentage allowed 38.2% and points allowed at
Hey,
58.3.
I got news for you, bro. We ain't scoring 53, 58. Duke has scored over 80 points a game in this tournament. All right, so miss me with the and I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying I understand how good their defense is. This ain't gonna be a 60 to 53 point game. This ain't gonna be that.
When he was asked to analyze Cooper Flag's game, Kevin Sampson, in his 36-year coaching and his third Final Four, second with Houston, he started mentioning teams that he's played against over the years and players that he's played against over the years, naming the likes of first ballot Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, Gary
By the
Payton,
way,
yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Paul Pierce, and saying this guy right here, this guy being Cooper Flag, this guy right here is with them. It's hard to say what he's not good at.
wow,
Appreciate you, Kevin.
yeah,
And you're gonna be on the wrong end of the scoreboard. That's all I can say about it. You heard?
yeah. At least it was Cooper Flag that did it to you.
Now, John Shire did see this Houston team last year in the Sweet 16 and a win before, obviously before Cooper Flag got there. Um, Nonetheless,
Says a lot about what we can do to them this year.
hey, Duke minus 5.5. I think you run with the points. I think towards the end of it, it becomes a field goal, a field goal game, a field goal, a free throw game, and you end up covering those 5.5 points. I might play it safer, buy it down to 2.5, one possession, three, put it in a parlay with the Florida money line. Hey, I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna do, right? This is not betting advice or financial advice for that matter, because I am not an accountant, but it's what I might do. You know what I mean? I like a Florida and Duke national championship this year. June got Auburn and Duke. Well, we both got Duke. June's on the other side of the other Final Four matchup
Yeah.
and taking Auburn. I'm gonna go with the Florida Gators and the Duke Blue Devils to be any national championship game. Hasn't been scheduled yet, so I'm not sure if it's Monday or Tuesday as of now.
I yeah, I don't know. I think it's Monday night, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's typically Monday night. June, you got any closing thoughts on these Final
Go
Four
Blue
matchups?
Devils, man. I'll be cheering from the couch tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Ain't much to it, man. It's game time, bro. It's game time, and all season, shit. Last season we talked about this kid Cooper Flag. I think I'll do this. Let me give the flowers to Cooper Flag before while he's still on his high horse and still winning because he deserves it. I mean, we talked about this kid in the
Yeah.
McDonald's All American High School game last year, and how he's coming to Duke and what he's gonna do, and how he practiced over the summer in Vegas with the 18 under USA basketball team, and shot a three over Davis, and all of these things, man, and it leads to San Antonio. All roads lead to San Antonio is
Yeah.
like their thing, right? And I think for Cooper Flag, win, lose, or draw tomorrow, he's already done enough and solidified himself enough to say, listen, bro, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be amazing. And cheers to you. Thank you for what you did here for your months here. Go kill the NBA. That's all I want to tell Cooper Flag because I mean nobody's gonna ever compare it to LeBron, right? The hype of LeBron James, but the Cooper Flag hype, let's be very clear, was very, very
It's
big.
real. Yeah.
It's very real and it's very big, and there's a lot of expectation on his plate. He's delivered this season, and I haven't seen him look faltered, or like looking crazy and all. Nah. So shout out to him, bro. I think he's gonna lead us to where we need to go.
Yeah, when earlier in the season we talked a little bit about composure and close games, and there was only three games that we lost, and in those close games we talked about maybe everything short of question his composure in those games, but he's answered back in every
Yeah.
other game that
Yeah.
we could imagine. Houston's he, Houston's top defender Joseph Tugler said, "Hey, take away his right hand. Don't let him get into his spin move. Make him earn his shot." Hey, 38 other teams tried that, buddy, with minimal success.
And
I don't
guess
know.
what? And guess what? We've seen Duke blow teams out when Cooper Flag has less than 15 points. He's got 14, he's got 16, and we're up 20. So it's like that's why I fuck with him a lot. You know, he knows how to win and impact the game. And
Yep.
so Cooper Flag doesn't get hell bent on scoring, on making sure he's involved in every set. No, Shire knows what he's doing, and I want to
Yep.
give him the credit there because this is not a Cooper Flag is the best genius ever, smartest kid ever. No, he is, but he ain't all that. John Shire has done a great job of putting him in the place he needs to be, but also John Shire has recruited an amazing class for Cooper Flag to have great teammates. And it's not about Cooper Flag tomorrow. Tomorrow is about Duke Blue Devils alongside Coach Shire trying to get another national championship. And we're going to see the likes of Con Knipple. We're going to see the likes of Tyrese Proctor, Malawach, James, Brown. I mean, Houston's going to see every look. So, all right, stop the right hand, stop the spin, make it uncomfortable. He'll still figure that out, like you said. Many teams have tried. Not to say just because they're focusing on it is going to work, but you know it might. It might. Guess what? Ozzy, 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 oi, 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 oi. You know what I'm saying? So we got options, brother. We got options.
John Shire was a part of the 2010 national championship team that lost 5 games in the regular season and went on to win the national championship with John Shire, Nolan Smith, Kyle Singler against that very formidable Butler team that almost, well, we're not playing hand grenades or horseshoes. He's looking to become a player national champion and a coach national champion at his alma mater. In closing, we'll take it over to the NBA, where last night we saw a duel between the Lakers and the Warriors. Hey, Pazminski, Mosinski, Mo Money, I don't know, but he went 8 for 10 from the 3 point line. Uh,
Hey man,
Austin Reeves had 3 threes in the last 90 seconds of the game. Golden State did outlast the Lakers in crypto.com arena 123 to 116. June, my question for you, are you worried about the Lakers right now?
no. I mean, I saw earlier on ESPN. I didn't watch it, but there was like an article or a clip or so that Jay Williams, shout to Jay Williams, Duke alumni, national champion. But he was saying, you know, like he's kind of worried about Luka and what he's got. He's looking, you know, a little slow on the defensive end, and if you're not gonna basically be elite on offense every night, hey, it's gonna cost you. And to a certain degree, of course, I to a certain degree, of course, I agree. But I think the Lakers have done so well since Luka has gotten to town that they haven't experienced the hardships yet. You know what I'm saying? Like had he got traded in January and they had whole February, whole March, or March and April, like they would have saw a lot of ups and downs. They would have found the things they don't like about Luka. They would have figured out, oh shit, we want to match up with this team. They kind of put this team together right at the deadline and hit the ground running and have played really well, especially on the defensive end. They've turned it up. So we're just at a point where it's still new. It's still new, and we don't know what the Lakers are going to look like full time. But for right now, this is what they look like. And last night, I don't think is something you want to look too deep into. I think the Warriors are a great team. They're about 18-4 or so since Jimmy's gotten to town. And this could be a first round matchup. So it's not to say don't worry, but one, Luka Doncic didn't even make a three. It was like 120 games that he had a three in
Two
straight.
years, bro. Two
Yeah, I mean,
years.
so I don't expect his offensive outputs to look this poor. My thing that I'll say, and I want to call out Luka Doncic again, is the referee antics, bro. I will never 100% respect the basketball player Luka Doncic uh, until I can notice like a change there. Far too many times we see him crying for fouls. We see him not running back on defense because he's busy distracted with a ref, getting a technical foul. Brother, a lot of the time it be bullshit cries because you fouled him or you weren't fouled. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that Luka Doncic is such a passionate player. He can let the game get into his head, and I think that's how teams can beat him. Like we've seen Luka Doncic shut down a little bit, i.e., last night he played fucking horrible, and it was the last possession they had for a chance, and Draymond Green strips him at the rim. I mean, we would never see Draymond Green strip. Not to say this on Draymond, but like Luka Doncic typically going to the rim, he'll get fouled, he'll miss a layup, but not even be able to get the shot up because you're getting ripped.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think he was in his head too much last night. So he needs to shut the fuck up and focus on the game. Is kind of more so how I feel about him, and it's he brings that soccer energy. And I'll tell everybody, like, bro, as much as I used to love soccer, like, I don't love soccer. Like, I like soccer. Soccer's pretty fucking cool. Like, it's okay. I think the sport is great. I think it's one of the coolest sports, right? You have to be super, super coordinated, but the the semantics and the politics in soccer, I can't rock with it, bro. I can't rock with someone faking an injury for whatever the reason you want to put behind it, whatever norm you guys have accepted in your sport. I can't, because when I see somebody grab their knee and wince their eyes, my immediate thought is, oh shit, ACL. Oh shit, how long is he out? Oh shit, no, hopefully he's okay. And it's like soccer, it's like a mockery, if you will. That's how I see it. They're like mocking the injury. And so I don't respect it, and I can't watch soccer full time because to me, I just think that mad pussies in soccer, straight up. That's just my honest opinion. So he's brought that to the NBA, much like a lot of other Europeans. That's kind of their culture. Um, and they like to bring their stuff over to America. But I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah, Luka Doncic, stop fucking crying all the time. Be more like Jokic. And Jokic cries a lot, I want to say. I hope you notice that too, because he be bitching. But I ain't gonna lie, that boy be putting in more work than bitching. Luka gotta grow up a little bit.
Yeah, 4 or 5 seed. This could be the first round matchup. I hope some things change in the seeding because I don't think this is the matchup that we deserve to watch in the first round. I think this is a match that we maybe a second round matchup. You know what I mean? And to think about it, June, this is a Warriors team that was once in 11th place. And we talked about them early in the season, like, yeah, these guys are done. Like,
Yeah.
there's no coming back from this. Like,
Yeah.
Steph Curry's on the bench throwing his mouth guard again.
But a lot of people
frustrated.
try to tell me that when they got Jimmy Butler, they got worse. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what world you get a all-time playoff player, a guy who was leading a franchise who then went to 2 Eastern Conference Finals, 2 finals, 3 Eastern Conference Finals, and 2 finals in a 6-year span. That player now, because he's acting like a little hoe, because he's acting like this, because he's acting like that, we're going to sit here and act like he can't turn it up. We're going to sit here and act like he can't be the answer Steph has been looking for. What the Warriors need, a two-way wing. Are we serious? And so I didn't understand when I was being told by who I was being told that they weren't going to get better or that they got worse. But we moved. And look, I think the record is 18-4 since the deadline. And whether Jimmy has played and scored 20 points in every game then or not, he has most certainly made a big impact on what Golden State has done. And I think he'll continue to do more, if not even more than what he's doing now in the playoffs. And it's going to be a very scary thing. I do not hope LeBron James goes and plays them in the playoffs because I do think the Warriors would beat them in about 6 or 7 games.
18-4. To me, the better stat is when the Warriors have Draymond, Jimmy, Steph, Moses, and Brandon as the starting lineup. They are 12-0, undefeated
Wow.
with
Yeah, man.
with that
Pop
starting
Mazinski
lineup.
went nuts last night. He went nuts last night. And Draymond Green, if he can hit 2 to 3 threes, you know what I'm saying, in crucial moments, like if you have to respect that 3-point line for Draymond, I mean, you're just asking a little too much. You know what I'm saying, of the defense, where it's like, bro, we're supposed to live with this shot. Like this shot, we're supposed to be clapping when he takes this shot. But last night, I mean, he made him pay. He made him pay, and he was hitting a couple. And now you got to step up. Now you worried, you can't focus on Steph running around full speed. You can't sag off and help. It's tough. So Yeah, Jimmy has another notch to turn up. We've seen this before. I'm not fooled. This is not the Jimmy going as hard as he can just yet. But by the time this month is over, we will be seeing Jimmy deep into the bag for sure.
Mm. Whew, let's take it over to Memphis, June, where John Morant fined $75,000 for a certain celebration after being warned. Being given a little slap on the wrist. Hey, don't do it again. We get it. You're hype. There's emotions in the game. Don't do it again. He does it again, quote unquote. Doesn't care. Gets fined 75K. June, can you bring us up to date on the latest this John Morant story?
Hey man, I'll say this, bro. John Morant, first of all, he had a game winner in Miami. I do want to let's talk about sports real quick. John Morant had an amazing game winner. Played a good fourth quarter, and he had a good game, but he didn't dominate the whole game. Scottie Pippen Jr. definitely was balling out on us, but great players do great things on the court, right?
Facts.
I couldn't even be mad. I was watching the game, and bro, game winners make me sick. Kay Cunningham hit that game winner at the time. I was sick. But I respect so much what the Heat were doing and the way they battled all game and stayed in the game and fought to the last possession. Ja Morant got the switch he wanted. He liked it. Maybe pushed off, maybe didn't. Hit a tough fadeaway. I got to give credit there. I just got to give credit. Now, all right, game's over. Done giving credit. Fucking Ja Morant. Talking shit about Khalil Ware is pretty fucking lame to me, by the way. And I do want to disclaim if John Morant came to the Miami Heat and played for the Miami, I would love that. Okay, I am a fan of John Morant, but I'm also a bigger Heat fan than I am a fan of John Morant. So I don't understand why he's talking shit to our rookie center who got switched on to him for the game-winning opportunity and he made the shot. I don't know if there was words on the court that obviously we didn't hear. Maybe Ware said something to him. It crossed him the wrong way. Whatever the case is, it's pretty lame that you let Taylor Rooks put a mic in front of your face and just get to spit anything, right? Whatever. The NBA has now fined Ja Morant, like you mentioned, for the finger gun thing. And we've seen two sides of this. I mean, I saw a lot of outrage as far as I think the NBA is treating him a little crazy right now. A lot of people think that there's race involved. A lot of people think that, listen, the bottom line for me is that I saw the NBA spoke to him and kind of put out a memo about it the first time it happened versus the Warriors. They didn't fine him. They didn't suspend him. They didn't. Nothing happened. It was cool. But he it just does it 2 minutes into the next game. I mean, at the end of the day, when you work for someone, when you are in someone's house, when you're at a place where you didn't make the rules. Now let's be 100% clear. You don't have to be here, right? This isn't jail where you didn't make the rules and you got to be here, so now you're just rebelling against. I understand. I could get down with that. But you chose to be here, but you're also choosing to not obey the rules. Whether you feel the rule is fair or not, the rule is the. I've heard that growing up my whole life. Life ain't fair. The rules is the rules. I can't get around you. So I imagine with a $200 million contract, sometimes you still get the shitty end of the stick, or life isn't fair. But I think as a role model, as a professional athlete in one of the biggest leagues in this country, which is a global game, and you have eyes from everywhere on you, I think you should be more prideful about upkeep and public image to an extent. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, hey, who gives a shit what anybody thinks about you, right? I'm working on that for me, and I want everybody to feel liberated to nobody's thoughts, right? Like nobody can make you feel worse about yourself because who cares what they think. But at the same time, it's different to say, who cares what this girl thinks about me? I'm still gonna move the way I do and still gonna that's cool. But we shouldn't take it to, well, who cares what you think about the view on kids who look at this guy and want to imitate everything he does. Kids were grittying because of Ja Morant, right? Gritty, it's a dance. Awesome. But the we're not focused on the impact. The gritty is a dance move that People in the real world and on TikTok do. But John Morant and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson have brought it to their sport and deemed it their celebration, in which millions of kids around the country want to imitate. The gun thing, whether you think it's a big deal or not, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with any listener or anybody in the world about how they feel doing a finger gun is. It could be a big deal, it could be a small deal to you. I think personally, waving a fake gun in someone's face past the age of, I mean, this is the funny part. These are things that children should be doing. Like, not should be, but you would think a child would do things like this and learn that at a certain point we don't do this anymore. It's equivalent to like when we go to the basketball court. Maybe when I was 13, I might have called my friend a bitch or called this dude a bitch because I just kind of didn't know any better. But I'm 30 years old. I'm not going to the basketball court to call another grown man a bitch because now we have a problem. And so to me, I just think the whole putting a gun in somebody's face is corny. That's just corny, bro. I I've always learned that don't take the gun out if you ain't gonna use it. And I don't know if I sound crazy to anybody or if I'm going too far, but like it's just along the lines of like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like because now we have, and oh, everybody else does it, bro. Whoever does it is corny. That's my opinion. Like you're putting a gun and going to another grown man. What are you trying to say? Okay, you shot the. I don't get it. So I'm not mad. Do I think $75,000 is excessive? Yeah, it's a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. Now they told you not to do it. You know that's why I can't defend it. Like it's not like this is the first time you did it and they just hit you with 75. Like damn, they done told your ass. And I don't even know the conversation to the extent. But you've had very uncomfortable conversations with Adam Silver about your career, about the future of John Morant in the NBA, and what John Morant needs to work on before he even gets to play again in this league because he did something to bring that upon himself. It's all self-inflicted. If we just looked at John Moran as the bad guy and just be talking shit about him because his hair, bro, I get it. But you're doing it to yourself and you're crying about it. So if this is the motivation you need to get into the playoffs, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the villain. Everybody want to look at me as the villain. No, you're fucking an idiot. That's it. You're just dumb. You're just dumb. That's my opinion. But yeah, the NBA said stop, and he's going. I don't know what everybody expects the NBA to do. Wouldn't you fine or reprimand someone that isn't obeying the policy? How do you feel about all of this? You don't have to give the 10-minute in-depth thing I did, but I would like to hear your thoughts on all this.
I'm going to, before I give you my thoughts on it, I am going to quote John Morant when he was asked about the criticism that he's been facing due to the celebration, saying he's quote unquote well aware. I'm kind of used to it, Morant said, per the Associated Press. I was pretty much a villain for 2 years now. Every little thing, if somebody can say something negative about me, it's going to be out there. So yeah, I don't care anymore. Hey, and if you don't care, I sure shit don't care. The problems, hey, like June, you just said, the problems, whether you got money or you don't got money, when you got money, you don't, the problems don't go away. They just become more expensive. $75,000 is expensive. That ain't no regular ticket right there. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Hey, do you boo boo? If you want to just keep paying these fines, like Randy Moss once said, straight cash, homie. That's cool
Straight
with
cash,
me.
homie. And no, and look, bro. Like, do I hate John Morant for this? Do I think John Morant? Look, I don't look at him less of a man. I
Absolutely
think
not.
he's corny. I think John Morant is corny. Straight up, I think John Morant is corny. Like, I don't care. But that don't make me like I don't like his game or like I wouldn't respect him. No, that has nothing to do with that. You're making a fool out of yourself for no reason. John Morant was the poster child.
Pride.
Bro,
Pride.
he was the yes, that's the reason. You were the poster child, face of the league, next in line. They Nike sold a fucking John Morant shoe with Swarovski crystals on it for over $300, a basketball sneaker. That's crazy. But I guess you know what I'm saying. Gun culture going get this is America. It's like whether you want to look into like gun culture is a problem. We shouldn't be. It don't even got to be that deep, bro. At the end of the day, the corporation said what they said, and whether you don't gotta like it. You
You
don't
got to
gotta like
abide by it.
or or just keep paying until they feel like they want to suspend you. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So that's kind of where I'm at. I wish John Morant would be smarter. I wish he would be wiser and kind of just grow up about it. But doesn't seem to be the case right now. He's gonna use this as fuel. And if this makes us see a fucking next level John Morant that's gonna be dunking from the free throw line in game,
So
let's
be it.
get it.
Yeah,
Let's
so
get
fucking
it.
be it.
I'm here for that.
Oh my goodness.
Shoot everybody.
Jim, you got any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
I think I've thought all my thoughts. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony though, bro. First ballot Hall of Famer, well deserved, gold medalist. Never a champion, but a gold medalist. So he won something.
Big facts, big facts. First ballot Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross over this 51-minute mark, this has been your special Friday episode. We weren't able to get together yesterday, but we definitely here in the flesh today. If you tapped in on the live, whether you're on YouTube or Twitter, we appreciate you tapping in and hanging out with us. If you're tuning in after the fact on YouTube or Twitter, thank you for taking time out of your beautiful day. As always, please like, subscribe, and follow at ATS Pod on Twitter, ATS Pod Official on Instagram. We'll see you guys next week after this Final Four, and we're going to be national champs, Drew. You heard I'm going to call it right now.
Well,
Hey, y'all have a great evening, and